In the ruthless land of Prince Harry and Her Montecito Majesty Meghan, you're either in or you're out. By semi-royal rotten decree, Harry's father, King Charles, is, it would seem, out. Just like Meg's dad, Thomas Markle, who's been frozen into exile by his imperious daughter for so long, he's never even so much as met his regal son-in-law, nor has the poor guy ever seen his grandchildren. Faring slightly better, the king has encountered Archie and Lilibet on a handful of rare occasions, but he is now letting it be known that he finds this long-distance relationship as upsetting as it is unacceptable. But while Charles desperately does not want to be a video grandpa limited to Zoom chats to faraway California, what real chance is there of any closer contact with the kids he loves? Pretty much no chance, as long as Harry obsessively pursues his lost cause of suing the British government to demand the armed police protection he will never get. Despite being told in no uncertain terms by a judge that his long-running legal action is doomed to certain failure, the determined, some might say deranged, Duke of Sussex has appealed yet again in a move that will add at least £500,000 to the million quid he has already spaffed after two emphatic rejections. Clearly a preposterously petulant prince who struggles to take no for an answer, haughty Harry believes that when he visits Britain, he should be entitled to the same security as the rest of the royal family who, unlike him, perform frontline duties. But his fixation on being guarded by cops with guns ain't gonna happen. And therefore, it's a cast-iron guarantee that Harry will continue to refuse to put his children in alleged danger by bringing them to Britain to see their granddad. And such is the uniquely pressurised existence of the king, he can't drop everything for a quick trip to America's West Coast. It simply doesn't go like that for the in constant demand British monarch. Meanwhile, the list of relatives and friends who have been cast out of Meghan's inner circle grows ever longer. Cynics might conclude that the former game show glamour girl actively enjoys the power of patronage that comes with marriage to the UK's fifth in line to the throne. But whether she relishes ghosting people or not, make no mistake, she definitely does it a lot. The Markle clan, including her troublesome sister Samantha and her dope-dealing brother Thomas Jr., have been in Meghan's own private Siberia from the day she hooked up with Harry. And on the other side of the Atlantic, the entire royal family don't appear to be making Meg's grade. To the extent, as I have often stated, that I do not believe the Duchess will ever step foot in Britain ever again. There's a growing feeling that behind the gilded gates of the gruesome twosome's colossal California castle in the sun, it's Harry and Meghan against the world. If you're not with them in spirit, they won't let you near them in person. So, heartbreaking though it undoubtedly is, King Charles had better make sure that Zoom connection is good, because the sad sovereign isn't getting up close and personal with his beloved grandkids anytime soon. Samara, this is the cruelest thing that Meghan and Harry do, is they're both grandparents. King Charles gets to see them incredibly rarely, apparently sort of weekly Zoom chats, that's about it. And Thomas Markle has never seen them in his life. I mean, that is really cruel, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's insanely cruel to Lilibet and to Archie. They are the real victims of this situation, her children. And the fact is that they have royal blood, royal lineage, and they'll grow up in sort of latte-sipping Montecito. And I think that they'll have problems in the future because they won't actually understand. They'll have sort of this divide between what their genetics are saying and the lack of touch with family that they have. They have a massive royal family that they're attached to that they have basically no knowledge of. And then in the fact of Thomas Markle, I mean, the man paid tirelessly school fees for Meghan. He brought that woman up. He gave her everything, almost the clothes off his back. He's a car ride away. and they still haven't seen each other. It's ridiculous.
It really is. Don't you think it is cruel to keep, the kids away from their grandparents and the grandparents away from the kids, especially the king, who, as I say, is letting it be known he really finds this long-distance Zoom relationship not acceptable. He wants to be closer to them. But Harry puts his own obsessive pursuit of his dwindling status ahead of the family love that should be those kids' rights. You know, it's all about him. I want security when I come back to Britain. If they all have guns, what gun cops? Why can't I? Because you're not a frontline royal. You quit. That's why.
You have Thomas Markle, who, yes, he was to a certain point a good dad to Meghan. But then I've seen interviews where he says he doesn't mind selling stories about her behind her back, and he's going to do.
Say that.
Let me finish. He's going to do whatever it takes to emotionally blackmail them to come and see him. I don't think it's right for the media or for anybody to try and put a dysfunctional father back with a daughter where that relationship is broken down. It's not our business, and we shouldn't be doing that.
Well, wait a second. Meghan has cast him out into her, as I said, own personal Siberia.
Because he's badly behaved.
Because he did deals with the press.
Yeah, he betrayed her. He betrayed her.
He's an innocent.
That was actually his only way of talking to her, because she refused to actually speak to him.
Because the other stuff went down as well, and she decided, I'm not going to speak to you anymore. Harry
She was embarrassed about him, and she wanted to cast him out from the family. That's very obvious.
Harry and Meghan did put out an olive branch to him. The way that he treated them and the way he's continued to treat them
olive branch?
has been emotional.
What olive branch?
Emotional blackmail.
What olive branch?
I'm sorry, wait.
Hang
on, wait, Samara. What olive branch?
Before their wedding, they got in contact with him, was going to bring him to the wedding. Harry was going to go and meet him, and they asked him not to speak to the press or speak to the media. And he went behind their backs and he did that, and they felt that he betrayed them.
And then, awful man, he went and had a heart attack and couldn't turn up to the wedding.
Also,
what a thing to do.
Can I just state
no wonder Meghan's so furious with him.
If they cared about him so much, while Meghan was prancing around in her new palace grounds, he was living in a trailer. She literally could have helped him in any way financially, but she chose not to. And that's why he basically got cornered into the fact that he had to sell specific stories in order to actually get himself out of the situation he was in, because they were offering no help.
I don't think it was that. I don't think
that's entirely true.
I just think he got hoodwinked by the press. You know this, Simon. The reporters can be very clever. You know, he's a simple man. He worked in the entertainment industry. He was a lighting engineer, very good at that. He was a top man in his trade. He now lives in retirement in Rosarito in Mexico, which, as you say, Samara, is only about a 3-hour drive from Santa Barbara, where the gruesome twosome live. Reporters turned up. They can be pretty artful, and they induced him into these deals. In retrospect, he regrets it, but you know how it goes.
No, but
it's wrong to blame him for that.
He continued saying, I saw the interview on GMB where he said, I'm going to continue selling stories about her and continually emotionally blackmailing her. Let me finish until she comes round and speaks to me, and that's the only power I have.
That's what he said, was it?
That's what he said.
We'll get the footage of that, because it won't be borne out. He did not say that.
He did say that.
He did not say, I'm going to continue selling stories.
I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he didn't say, stop making your points with lies.
I'm paraphrasing what he said, but that's the essence of what he said.
He didn't say, I'm going to continue selling stories to emotion.
We'll get it up. Can we call that clip up? Thank you very much. The second thing about Charles
we've got the clip. It doesn't bear out what you're saying.
There is no clip.
The other thing about Charles being a Zoom granddad, that is really sad. I do think it's really sad, but ultimately they've got to a position whereby Harry feels completely paranoid about coming over, about the safety of his kids and his wife, and they've reached an impasse. If he doesn't feel safe, he's not going to bring the kids or his wife over.
Pompous little man, obsessed with his own status. He doesn't feel paranoid. He is obsessed with the fact that William, his hated enemy, his sibling rival,
but now he's projecting,
gets gun protection wherever he goes.
We don't know that's the truth.
Well,
now
we do know that.
You two are projecting. You're saying this is the reason why. Yeah. I'm saying it's paranoia.
There's a reason that the cousins have never met. So Lilibet and Archie have never met George, Louis, and Charlotte. And that's also an insane, it's horrible for them. They haven't met their own cousins.
Here's
and
something
that proves
to think
your
about.
point, Kevin. He has got a vendetta against
Here's
William.
something to think about. I don't think if I was to see Archie or Lilibet in the media at the moment without them being named, I don't know what they would look like. And I think they've gone to massive lengths to try and make their children...
It's nothing to do with whether or not the king could see them.
I think they've gone to quite exceptional lengths to make their children as private as possible and to have a normal upbringing.
Simon, you can look on their Instagram and see exactly what they look like.
What's that got to do with this? What's that got to do with it?
So what's the point of traipsing them?
I'll tell you what a normal... Oi, shut up, will you? Shut up.
Let me finish.
Shut up. No, I will not let you finish. You're talking over everyone. Now, shut up. Here's a normal upbringing for kids. They get to see their grandparents.
They're not normal, though, are they?
Yeah, well, you just said they go to enormous lengths to make sure they have a normal upbringing.
That's what I'm saying.
They bloody well don't.
That's what I'm saying. They go to enormous lengths to make sure that they have a normal upbringing because they are not normal. They're the kids of a Duke and Duchess.
A normal upbringing involves seeing your grandparents.
Not if it means coming over and being bombarded with paparazzi flashes and everything else.
You can avoid that. You know that.
No. Harry and Meghan's Netflix documentary went way further. They brought the cameras into the place where Archie sleeps. I don't think that's privacy.
Exactly.
I've never seen that from any of the royal, Williams children. They never go in there. They take one photo. Kate usually takes it. It's a very nice environment. They don't go in with cameras into the nursery, show the birth of Lilibet. It's insane, the lack of privacy that they've given their children. And you're not very active on Instagram. They're always posting photos of them there.
They want privacy on their own terms. They want to.
And what's wrong with that? We all want privacy on our own terms.
Well, no, stop going on about your privacy if you're going to trade off your kids when you feel like it on Instagram.
No, you're allowed to have privacy on your own terms.
If you think it's good for your so-called shit career.
You're allowed to have privacy on your own terms. You can be on Instagram posting pictures every day, and then you find out that you might. Then you find out that you. Then you find out that you might be ill and decide that you don't want to have privacy. Anyway, you're allowed to have privacy on your own terms.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, guys.
I don't care about Harry and Meghan. They're a couple of liars. We're going to go to a bad ad.
Oh, Mr. Phillips.
Call me Wayne.
I'm here to see a range of cars again.
You want a Ford? You want a Kia?
Or second hand?
Look over here.
So browse online.
Or take the wheel.
If you're thinking Ford or Kia, you've got the right idea. Now come and see Wayne Phillips for the deal.
They call me Wayne.
Every show we get loads and loads of comments, nearly 3,000 this week. Thank you very much. I really love you doing this. And we do go through all of them, and one day it will be your moment. And we're going to spray them through the show, do some more at the end. So here are the first of the lovely comments about me and this show.
Yes, there's been some great comments. Donna said, Simple Simon should not be speaking for Americans. Those two grifters have done absolutely nothing for us.
Yeah, that's Harry and Meghan, your heroes.
Listen, I am not speaking for America. Some of the people write down, Simon's obviously paid just to take an opposing view. I'm not paid to take an opposing view. That's what I really believe. So you, Donna.
And that's why we feel so sorry for you.
Thank you.
You really are simple.
Well, Anise Doherty says, Kevin, when you interrupt people and call them names...
Hang on a second.
Kevin, when you interrupt people and call them names, you're acting like a meatball. So I grace you with the nickname Kevin Meatball.
Lucia says, I can see why you call him Simple Simon. You need to have better information. Why the American people love Trump. We're no cult. Simple Simon, Trump kept prices down.
Yeah, see, that's a really good point. Trump, the next president of America, is beloved all over that country. You don't get it because you just think in terms of New York and LA, don't you?
No, I don't. Listen, I will say that Trump did some good things. I will sit down and have that argument. I think he did some good things, but I do think that MAGA members are in a cult and they're brainwashed by and can't see how bad he is as a person.
There he goes again.
One more from you, Simon, I think.
Lillian. Oh, I adore Simon. I think he's just utterly kind and charming. But Meghan is just conniving, and Harry is a weak man who is convinced that he's been victimised. She does hustle, but I do not all believe she is truly interested in doing good. I think she wants to be thought of as beyond reproach, but she's just not a very kind or genuine person. Now, I don't agree with you, Lillian, but you're right, I am utterly kind and
Lillian,
charming.
really good text there, really good message, apart from the "oh, I adore Simon" bit. I don't know where you're coming from there. You got one more, Samara?
I love Kevin O'Sullivan. I love his delivery. He doesn't mince his words about those lazy effing grifters. Simple Simon needs to open his closed mind and see the true picture of the D-list mattress actress.
Who's that from?
Oh my God, that is from Festive Lady.
Festive Lady, you're a star. And on that bombshell, we're going to go to a real ad. just happened? Roll up for the American Lawfare show. Donald Trump's a convicted felon 34 times over for crimes against bookkeeping that would never have got anywhere near a courtroom if he wasn't standing for president. Sleepy Joe's 54-year-old problem child, Hunter Biden, is in the same legal boat after being found guilty of pretending he wasn't addicted to crack cocaine while buying a gun. His furious father fumes that horrible Hunter, a huge fan of drugs and prostitutes, would have been offered a plea bargain if it wasn't for the fact he's the seedy son of the current president. Will Sleepy Joe pardon him? The White House refuses to deny it. Could he be so stupid? Oh, yeah. Does the increasingly doddery old duffer even know who Hunter is anymore? You decide. But the criminal status of both Donald and Hunter have plunged the United States into unprecedented territory. Never before has a former president been found guilty of breaking the law. Never before has the son of a sitting president been successfully prosecuted. So, what effect will these bombshell trials have on the election come November the 5th? Teflon Don already seems to be shrugging off his downfall as angry Americans appalled by that blatantly crooked Manhattan case rally to support him. Since the Democrat jury's dubious verdict, hundreds of millions of dollars have poured into Trump's campaign fund, mostly in donations of less than $100, which adds up to an awful lot of voters. Meanwhile, Hunter's guilty on all counts conviction ironically plays well for Biden Sr., or as I like to call him, Biden Senior moments. More of that later. How can Trump's people wail and moan about bent US justice victimizing the Republican candidate when the son of the Democrat candidate also went down? So far, so good for Joe. But here comes that Hunter problem again, because in September, uncomfortably close to Election Day, he's in court again. This time facing charges of tax evasion to the sizable tune of $1.4 million. Prosecutors in California will maintain that the money Hunter should have paid his taxes with, he blew on vast quantities of drugs and a veritable army of sex workers. At such a pivotal political point, not a good look for his dad. But when all is said and done, the troublesome Hunter issue, while bad, is unlikely to do Joe Biden as much electoral damage as his own alarming physical and mental decline. His arthritic back has reduced him to a sort of rigid, excruciatingly slow shuffle. And the 81-year-old president is clearly close to falling into the abyss of total senility. In just the past week, he tried to sit down on an imaginary chair at the Normandy Beach D-Day Memorial and froze into a statue-like stillness, staring vacantly into the sky, while all around him danced to gospel music at the White House Juneteenth party, at which his speech was at times pure garbled gobbledygook. And at the G7 in Italy, the extraordinary spectacle of the other world leaders protectively trying to stop Gaga Joe wandering off and losing all track of the proceedings was as sad as it was frightening. For a guy who is supposed to be the most powerful person on the planet with his finger on the nuclear button, it was a terrifying sight to see. Can this ancient, pratfalling, brain-failing fossil of an OAP manage 4 more years in the Oval Office? Of course he can't. If Americans want a president who knows what day it is, they have only one choice. Vote Trump. You'd have to do that if you were an American, Simon.
I mean...
Yeah, get out of this one. I mean, come on, to be serious for a second.
Let's be serious for a second.
We can laugh about this poor old guy falling up the steps of a plane,
not funny.
falling off a bicycle, but it is getting beyond a joke. There's a crisis here. There's an escalating crisis. His marbles are going fast.
OK, so I am not going to sit here and try and argue for Joe Biden being 100% worthy of being president. I think he's too old. I don't think he should have stood. And I think it's a terrible, terrible situation in America that the choice is binary, Biden or Trump. I mean, I watched Trump. Just Google Trump battery and shark attack and see what Trump was saying at his rally this week.
Piss off.
No.
Shut up. No.
Allow me to answer.
No. Quiet.
Allow me to answer.
No, because this is pathetic.
It's not pathetic.
Stop it.
You weren't searching.
Stop interrupting
You weren't
every time
searching
people...
for
I was
Trump.
talking.
This
You're
is
interrupting me.
nonsensical whataboutery.
It's not at all.
Donald Trump has got all his marbles.
No, he hasn't.
Shut up. Samara?
Sorry, that man has all of his marbles. The
No,
fact that you
Trump-
were, you had to, you know, sorry,
Simon, the
Simon,
Google.
you had to go search Trump fumbles on words.
No. Excuse
happened this week.
Shut up. We're not doing whataboutery.
No, it's actually-
We're talking about Joe Biden, the President of the United States.
You're talking about Hunter.
Shut up, Samara. Shut the fuck up, will you?
Simon, this isn't a joke.
Yeah.
It actually
Let
is
the lady
very
speak,
serious.
you
And the fact
rude
that you
bastard.
the fact that you do admit that he is not there,
Yes.
okay? It's not just someone who's showing up to work to type some numbers in an Excel spreadsheet. It's the guy with the nuclear codes we're talking about. It's the guy who's running the free world, so to speak.
And
This
so is the
someone-
other person.
No, you've got to talk about Biden.
So was the other person. The other person didn't start any wars when he was in office. This guy's gone and started about two have happened under his watch that we know of. And the fact is that he's not all there, and it looks very bad for the West. They are laughing at us in all the other countries that despise the West when they see this guy go and walk at the G7 summit and go look at the air and shake a hand that isn't even there. He's done it multiple times. He'll do it again, and it's actually really dangerous.
This
that this
is-
is how
May
we
I
look
answer now?
Not if it's going to be about bloody Donald Trump.
May I
We're
answer?
talking about the crisis of Joe Biden's
crisis.
escalating mental
Okay,
decline.
so three things. The first
you
one.
say Donald Trump again, I'm throwing you out the fucking studio.
The first one is
What about Donald Trump?
don't end a monologue with vote for that man and then don't ask me to talk about him. That seems mad. The second one is don't start a monologue talking about Hunter Biden and isn't it bad that he's gone to jail? Let's talk about
He
that.
hasn't gone to
and then
jail.
that he's been convicted or found guilty. Don't start a monologue talking about Hunter and then pivot it into Joe Biden and then say you can't talk about Joe Biden in the same sentence as you're talking about the other man.
You're
Let me finish.
microanalyzing the monologue
let
to
me
get out of the
finish.
question.
All right, for once, let him finish.
Let me finish, because I want to know, what do you want me to talk about? If you want me to talk about Hunter and is it bad that he's been convicted...
No, I wanted you to talk about Joe.
Wait, well then, we started talking about...
Go on, then.
We started talking about Hunter and the
You're
fact
so
that
mentally undisciplined.
We started talking about Hunter and the fact that he'd been found guilty this week. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Joe Biden accepted it. Nobody started criticising the judicial process, which is what the other man, whom I'm not allowed to talk about, did. The second thing is Joe Biden sane enough to be president? On what we're seeing,
I'm not saying he's
on
insane.
On what we're seeing, is he mentally culpable enough to be president?
Yeah.
And what we're seeing, capable, I'm having to talk this fast because every time I make a point, you just yell and scream at me and tell me to shut up. So Joe Biden probably shouldn't be standing for president. However, when we look at the other candidate, who I can't save for being told off, I don't think, seeing what he did this week at his rally, that everybody is talking about, everybody is joking about this sharp comment, he is not in a great place either. They should kick them both out and bring in
Simon, we have to finish this show this
bring in
week.
two
we
new
have to finish.
candidates.
Shut up, will you? For God's sake, stop droning on.
I'm not allowed to speak.
But to speak, you just spoke for 10 minutes. Shut up. Right. Let's have a look at Donald Trump's campaign video, shall we?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping. She knows so long as she is denied, our freedom can never be secured. We'll never forget lying around and him lying around, actually. It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Come on, Simon, that's not good, is it?
Am I allowed to talk about?
No. What do you think about what Donald Trump's campaign is saying about Joe Biden? You must admit Joe Biden provides his opponent with a lot of material.
I keep on saying this.
Don't say, look. Don't say, oh, what about Donald Trump?
No.
Because there's no crisis.
You don't know what I'm going to answer. Let me answer.
Oh, all right, then.
I keep on saying that the choice for me is almost similar. I can't see. I don't think Joe Biden. I'm not going to sit here and argue that Joe Biden is in a great place to stand at 81. I think that's ridiculous anyway. I have a problem with people being of a certain age where they're making laws that they're not going to be see enacted. I think that that's kind of wrong. I think that if you're there making laws, you should be around to see what you're doing.
Well, let's think about that. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I don't think you should just make it an age limit. What we're talking about with Joe Biden is there are a lot of 81-year-olds are on their game. They're at the races.
Yes.
There are 90-year-olds who are on their game and at the races. It's not about age. It's just people age in a different way. And Joe Biden, over the last couple of years, certainly the last couple of months, I'd say, Samara, has been aging alarmingly fast. It's something, he's falling off a cliff now, and I believe this is becoming not only a crisis for America, it's becoming a crisis for the world. Hang on, that's Samara! When did I change your name to Samara? For God's sake!
Look, the Juneteenth video, which I'm sure everyone's seen by now, where he's just frozen and it looks like he's defrosting.
This is my... He goes like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
they're all dancing around, he's like a statue.
No, I literally imagine him like in a cadaver-like box and they sort of defrost him out of the Air Force One when they bring him to the Juneteenth ceremony. It was exactly like that. That man didn't move. It's really concerning, and I think that the American people are smart enough to know that that's not someone who should be making all the big decisions, especially in where the country is right now.
Yeah.
It needs power, it needs vigor, and it needs energy. And that's nothing that Joe Biden will bring.
And I know a lot of Americans from both sides of the political divide. All Americans are really concerned about Joe Biden. Now, we've got these TV debates coming up, I think only in about a week's time, in Atlanta at the CNN headquarters. And apparently, I heard this through my sources in Washington, the Democrats have been trying to throw more and more terms and conditions at Donald Trump, you can't talk for more than 3 seconds, things like that. Conditions that they hope Donald Trump will say, I'm not doing it under those terms, but Donald Trump's just going, yeah, whatever, because he can't wait to get on the stage. He will annihilate that old geezer, won't he?
Yes, I don't think it's going to be very pretty, and I think that actually you say that people age differently and things happen.
True, isn't it?
Can I go back to the point that I was making about people sort of at the age of kind of in their 80s where they're making laws that they're not going to go and see? I think that you don't have to possibly be on the edge of senility to come up with something that you think, well, I don't know whether it will work or not, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to be around at that time. So I think there is a moral question about letting people of a certain age still be making laws or still leading a country. I also think as well that cherry picking from both sides to show both sides in a terrible light.
Cherry picking, come on, but Joe Biden's a bit more than that.
Joe Biden's not great. Joe Biden's not great, but neither is the other guy as well. And so I think that what should happen here, they need two new candidates. They do.
Yeah,
it's too late now, Simon.
They need two new candidates.
Yeah, you can have that conversation, but it's not practical at all. First of all, Kamala Harris, I mean, she's one person that's even more unlikable than Biden. I'm not going to lie. I mean, she hasn't even been seen for the past 4 years. What's she even been doing?
Well, a lot of
cooking
people,
a curry in the back and posting it on YouTube.
I mean, a lot of people think that Joe Biden's the worst president ever. Now, that's up for debate. I mean, I would agree with it, but I'll accept it's a debating point.
No, he's only been
Kamala Harris, no debate. She's the worst vice president America has ever had, right, Samara?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't know that you're going to say Samara.
Every single point I put out there, you think it's to you. But, oh, by the way, I think your ego's just landed over there. God almighty, carry on,
Has anyone seen Kamala first of all?
Is it all right if Samara speaks?
Yeah, can I speak?
Keep it down.
This one's keep it down.
All right.
Keep the volume down.
No, look, has anyone seen Kamala Harris for the last 4 years? Because I absolutely
Yes,
haven't.
I have. She was dancing next to Joe Biden.
Yeah, Yeah, she
She's
brought
like
in-
next to him. Like
she is basically Joe Biden's emotional support dog at this point. Like, that's all she really is. She hasn't done much. I see her popping up here and there with Mindy Kaling and all her other Hollywood elite friends and making weird YouTube videos and Instagram videos to show that she's alive. But she hasn't done anything, and she's definitely not ready to step up and be the president. Absolutely not.
You see, the thing about aging in different ways, you know, a lot of people said to me when I hit 85 that I should hang my boots up, but I'm still going strong. 5 years later, I'm still here. They said I wouldn't last. I showed them. But there's a bit of talk, and I think it's too late now, that what the Democrats are worried about is if they get rid of Joe, and by the way, technically that's virtually impossible. If he insists, they'll find it very hard to defenestrate him. But if they get rid of Joe, they might be stuck with Kamala. That's a surefire loss for them. So what some of them want to do is to parachute the Californian governor, Gavin Newsom, into the convention at the end of August and say, he's our new candidate. But I'm afraid Joe is locked in, particularly with these TV debates. I'm going to tell you here right now, it's very possible that just before the TV debates, Joe Biden will come down with COVID, if you catch my drift. Because these Democrats, if they're not panicking their asses off right now about sticking that old geezer on the stage with Donald Trump, they need their heads tested. It will be a massacre, a massacre. Time now for a bad ad.
We open up our doors for you. Shop 7 to 7 the whole week.
727 stores are open 7 days a week for your convenience.
Call in this week and look for Meadow Lee table margarine, Dairy King ice cream, Chuck Super Wipes, and Golden Circle fruit juices.
We're waiting round the corner with everything to fill your order.
Is that like 7-Elevens in America, 727 stores? Yeah?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. I mean, that was just a list of foods that have been were banned from my
What's
household.
Chuck's? What was that?
Chuck's wipes.
Chuck's wipes. Chuck has something to do with
They
producer
think
Chuck. Where are you?
that's the product to showcase when you're making a glittering TV
Yeah,
ad.
so-
Yes.
Get these wipes.
Chuck
Do we have
wipes
the
and some
girls
ice
in the
cream.
sparkly top hats? Do we have all the spandex? Do we have the Chuck's wipes? Do we
You've
have
got
them?
shit all over yourself. Use these Chucks. We were 9 to 10. It's time now for a real break. What just happened? In this very studio the other day, Piers Morgan, I think, sat here, and Kevin Spacey sat there for something like an hour and a half interview. And it was compelling stuff. Piers was on great form. And for me, Kevin Spacey came across as an honest and likeable guy who's been through the wars. By the way, I met him in makeup. And I said, oh my God, you're Kevin Spacey. And he said, yes. I said, I'm Kevin O'Sullivan. He said, don't we have a great first name? I said, yeah. I said, that's the best thing about me. After that, everything tails off. But seriously, it was my honour to meet him because I think he is the greatest film actor of his generation, and he's a damn good stage actor as well. Now, we all know his story. You know, he is the ultimate victim of Hollywood cancel culture, stood accused of various sexual assaults, groping, went through a big trial here in London. I think it was 12 or 16 offences he was accused of, acquitted of all of them. The point about this guy is his glittering, well-deserved career has been completely destroyed on the back of accusations. No proven allegations against him at all, legally speaking. Therefore, why is his career ruined? Why has he been cancelled? What do you think, Samara?
I think that this interview is a really pivotal moment for cancel culture in general because we do really see the man behind all the allegations and how it's destroyed his life. And it was really interesting, you know, it was a very emotional interview. He was almost crying when he saw himself win those Oscars.
He cried a lot.
He was very emotional because you can see how much his career means to him and how much the downfall has affected him. And I think that trial by the media and trial by the public is an increasingly popular thing in our society that is, quite frankly, horrendous to see the effect that it actually has on people. He was found completely not guilty of all the charges against him, and I think that the interview showed as well that a lot of the people that were surrounding themselves with him were not right, and that actually they backstabbed him.
Yeah, that's here in London, Southwark Crown Court, and where, by the way, he has a great affection for London. I think he lived here for a long time. He's just had to sell his house in Baltimore. He lives in Baltimore, by the way. Was he in The Wire? But seriously, but he's just had to sell it because he's been left penniless in fact, he revealed to peers he's millions of dollars in debt because of his legal fees. Over in America, there's been various attempts to bring him to dock, and they've all failed. His guy remains unconvicted of a single offence, and yet on the altar of the era of accusation, where all I have to do, Simon, to ruin your life is to say something awful about you, sexually or something.
Like earlier today.
Yeah, and I intend to do that within 10 minutes. We're approaching the stage where if you see someone in a bar you fancy, you go over and talk to them and say, can I buy you a drink or something? Yeah. They're likely to charge you with sexual assault or something.
I don't think that's
Well,
true.
yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Be surprised.
So he's not saying he's an angel. And he explained the process of cancellation. He said that he's now at this stage where a lot of directors, a lot of producers, fellow actors, people in the film industry are very interested in working with him again. And he said he's been given scripts and directors.
There's always one person at the top.
This is the way it goes, that the producers are saying, and it goes up and up and up, and even studio chiefs are beginning to say, maybe we could give the old Spacey dice a roll. Yeah. And then it goes to the distributors, the people who have to sell the film around the world, and they go, oh, wait a minute.
We can't sell that.
Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen with Spacey, in my view. I know a little bit about how Hollywood works. I was there. One distributor, one studio chief is going to take a risk. They're going to go, what the hell? Let's try Spacey. And then they will discover that all over the world, there are warm feelings about Kevin Spacey, and that film will go through the roof. And then they'll all be bum fighting to get him into their next movie. But right now, he is still trapped in this awful cancellation process at which Hollywood is the capital of the world. Me Too is all very well. Of course, Me Too is good. Women should not be mistreated. All that. The Weinstein stuff, just disgusting. All that. However, it's gone too far. Am I right?
It's really difficult to say, yes, you're right, in some cases where there's been chronic inequality.
We're not talking about those cases. We're talking about the Johnny Depps, the Aziz Ansaris. These people have been absolutely trialed by the media, and when the actual truth comes out, their careers are already destroyed and their entire reputation has been slashed and tainted by what they've allegedly done, which is been proven not to be true. And it's a really dangerous precedent that we're setting when we start to do this to people, when people read half a headline and don't actually look into the person. And the interview revealed a lot about his childhood, horrible stuff that he'd gone through.
But I have to say, we do a show where we do a bit of trial by media on this show, and we know that that's what people like.
Also, I don't think you should call it trial by media. And that's a bit like I blame the media. The media just report.
Yeah,
this is a
trial by Twitter.
This is a culture that has arisen since Me Too. And I say I'm not knocking Me Too. But I think it's gone too far.
But we discuss things. We are not the power brokers. We are not the people who decide that Kevin Spacey needs to be cut from all the money in the world.
Yeah, but who does? Yeah, but okay. Of course, the producers decide that. Yeah. Ridley Scott probably thought we'd never sell this film.
Yeah, but they do that based on headlines that are generated by Twitter.
It's all part and parcel. Social media plays a big part in this. By the way, we should remember we're talking about Kevin Spacey. Harvey Weinstein, of course, was cancelled quite rightly. This cancellations always happen, but over here we've had Michael Barrymore found not guilty, never convicted convicted of anything, completely cancelled. Jim Davidson, a great guy, by the way, I love Jim, and he has been cancelled because of his political views and because...
Not just because of his
because he
political
was
views.
accused
Not just because of his political views,
incidents that were never proved. You know, you should not be ruining people's lives for unproven allegations.
I'm just saying, though,
disgusting.
Kevin, no, I'm just saying we want it to be binary, we want it to be black and white, but then I make the point, as I've just made before, that, you know, O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Do we put him back in a film?
Yeah, I think we do.
See, I think I would have...
Anyway, we've got... I want to just say, come back, Kevin Spacey. All is forgiven, and you're right. We both do have the best first name in the world. That's dubious, by the way. Time for a real break. What just happened? Welcome back to What Just Happened. Now, we dipped into our mailbag a little earlier, and now we're going to dip into it really properly. So these are some of your responses to last week's show. Keep them coming in, because we love to hear from you, and lots of them are very funny, and lots of them are very critical of me, and that bit I object to. So what do you got, Simon?
Simon, please don't, in capital letters, be on this programme. The reason being, you're disrespected. You're talked over when you're speaking.
Shut up, Samara!
You are an eloquent man. You're good-looking and you're fair in your comments. You are, from what I've seen, an intelligent man around idiots.
Love,
and Leah...
Love mum.
Leah, I just want to say thank you. I'm doing my best here. I feel that these idiots need to be carried by me.
Leah, why do you call Simon good-looking? Have you met him? Was he kind to your guide dog or something? What do you got, Samara?
Elaine has said, simple Simon talks through his arse because his mouth is worn out.
Talk through his ass because his mouth is worn out.
I just love the way you're like...
Who was that one from?
That's from Elaine.
So contrasting views from Leah and Elaine.
You know what, Leah? I like you. Yeah. Elaine, not so much.
What have you got to tell us out of your arsehole this time?
OK, this is from I Look After the Water, that's their name. Loving the way O'Sullivan switches elbows and goes through a remarkably small menu of poses as he delivers a diatribe draped in the robes of a somewhat unpolished and clearly inadequately rehearsed soliloquy. I look forward to the day when he begins with, "Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio."
Well, that next week. She's right, though. Who was that from?
That was from I Love the Water. I Look After the Water.
I Love the Water. Is that your real name? She's right. I look at the show and I go like this all the time when I'm doing this, and I've got to stop, but I can't stop. It's like. So I Love the Water. It's a fair point. Samara.
Cynthia says, Kevin O'Sullivan can't make a living unless he's spewing hate to Harry and Meghan. He adds Samara to his Amen corner to prove his non-legitimate show has relevance. What a simple-ass man, not Simon.
And who's that from?
That's from Cynthia.
Well, thanks, Cynthia. Go yourself. No, thank you very much, Cynthia. We like comments, whether or not they're nice or nasty. Hopefully there's a nasty one about you now, Simon. Take it away.
It says, Simon is a lovely man who is trying to speak the truth about Meghan and Harry, and he can't get a word in edgeways for the two wicked ones determined to drag the lovely woman through the mud. Shame on both of you. Whoa. The only decent adult in the room is Simon. And I am. I'm trying to give an opposing view. I'm not trying to bring anybody down. I'm giving an opposing view.
Commenters, you have your say about that.
I like that idea. I can only make a living pissing on Harry and Meghan. Well, you know, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. What do you got, Samara?
SYW, please get rid of Simple Simon. He's wrong on every single point, and he tries to make them... He insults intelligent Americans.
Yes, you do, Simple Simon, village idiot. Time for a bad ad.
Rundle Mall starts to come alive before the morning sun has reached the sky. While you're still at home in your cozy bed, we're busy getting ready for the day ahead. Rundle Mall, it's the biggest variety show in town.
Rundor Shopping Mall. Do you know it?
Rundle Mall is the most expensive thing on the Monopoly board in Australia. Yes. So that is.
What is that, like $1 Australian dollar? By the way, Australian dollars, they're worth about 1p, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty
like
much.
5 cents or
we
something.
might as well be paying with Monopoly money when we
yeah.
come here to be more useful.
So that's a posh shopping mall.
That is the poshest of all.
And their budget.
I'm not joking.
And their
I'm not
budget for
joking.
the advert only runs to one guy.
Yeah. I'd hate to see your least posh shopping mall. Poor old Australia. Since you came on the show, we've been pissing on it every week. But we love Australia, we love America, and this is the point where we say farewell. So thank you, I think, to Simon London for another interesting contribution
It's
to the show.
been a pleasure.
Yeah. Simple Simon, Village Idiot will be back next week. The brilliant Samara Gill will be back as well. As will I. This has been another excellent edition of What Just Happened. I have been Kevin O'Sullivan, and we, all three of us, will be back at the same time, same place, right here. What just happened?